We're gonna mill up some ash. The emerald ash borer has done a number on these ash trees, so there's lots of them to choose from. It's a pretty dense hardwood, so we're gonna be using it for the attic space. We've already got our insulation on vapor barrel, that stuff you guys saw before. So what we're gonna do is basically cover. It's gonna be a sheeting. We're gonna make a thin sheet, and then we're gonna do like a board and batten style ceiling for it. So like I said, these ash trees, they're heavy though. The tractor can barely lift them. In fact, you're gonna see exactly what the problem is in about a second here. So let's grab one of these logs, let's move it over to the mill and get it milled up. We got up high enough, now we got to roll it. Kevin's gonna roll and I'm gonna get stuck here and get crushed and die. I got it, ish. Let it warm up. Oh, I took the ball up. I got it. It's on the rail. So we're going with a 1/2 inch board depth, and the widths are going to be based on whatever tree we have. We have one more tree. If we don't have enough, we'll have to find another tree. So I figure we have enough. We got what, 10?
11'3".
11'3" board width. It's probably close to one side. We haven't measured the cabin yet, but we're pretty close. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our little stickers here, and we got a flat throwaway board on the bottom, and then we're gonna take all our pieces and lay them flat so that they can dry. We can't put them in now because they're gonna be wet one side. Well, I mean the other side's fine, but the top against the plastic is going to be wet and it's going to be a problem. So we're going to leave these to dry for 2 weeks.
So the little pieces of wood we put between the boards are called stickers, and we sticker the wood in order to allow air to go through the wood. Usually you want to stack your lumber perpendicular to the wind, and it allows the wind to go through the stacks, and the stickers offer space for the wind to go through and dry it all out. But the other reason why is because if it's dry then it's stable, and air drying typically makes a more stable board. Now some people would say, you know, kiln drying is the way to go, but if you dry stuff slowly and stably, it usually retains that shape once it's done being dried. But we're no experts, so. Well, they say 1 inch per year, so this is a 1/2 inch board, so it should take 6 months, right?
6 months,
according to the according to the experts.
I'm not waiting that long. You're gonna love all that stacked up wood, nicely organized. That's gotta be a human thing, just to appreciate all the lines perfectly set up. This is like, has some value now. As a tree, you look at it, like, it doesn't have much value, especially a dead tree. But this all milled up. This is ready to go. This has some value. We're short, I don't know, 6 feet or something like that. So we got one more piece we're gonna throw up here. That'll complete the ceiling portion. Then we gotta do the batons, the board and the batons. So do the batons later, or next, I guess. So yeah, anyway, one more piece and then we're good for the ceiling-ish, mostly. So now we got the last little bit here. We're gonna flip it up, and that's gonna be our batten or baton and batten, part of the baton and the batten part. You know what I'm talking about when we install it. You guys ever installed board and baton and batten? And then we probably have enough even for the wainscoting or wainscoting, depending on where you're from. All right, dudes, we got the whole thing stickered and stacked, strapped and covered. So we're all set for waiting. That's right, we gotta wait. We're gonna wait for this to dry. So we can't do anything until then. We'll check back in a couple weeks, finish up our insulation, put up our vapor barrier, put our roof up, and then we can start working on the walls. Unfortunately, we have to wait for this to dry.
This one's too small. I want to take them off.
So we've got all our roofing material ready, waiting, and it's probably dry. We'll find out in a bit. We're just gonna jump in the cabin, do a little bit of cleanup, make sure that the slate is all clean and ready to go for the next step, and that's ceiling installation.
Been sitting all winter. Let's see if she goes first pull. see our pipe hole? My pipe hole. My pipe hole is pretty clean.
It's the ash hole.
Well, the ash hole is in there. This is the pipe hole. The pipe hole is pretty clean, so that's what you want. You see your pipe look like at the end of the season. Nice.
Clean pipe, clean ash hole.
Yeah, clean pipe.
Oh, mosquitoes are so bad out here. We're gonna take out the stove. We don't need it in the summer anyway, and it's gonna be in the way if we're doing everything else. So we pull it out. And we have complete access to do all the ceiling, drywall, and everything. And besides, we have to take it out to do the floor and the back of it and everything. We'll just put it back in when we need to.
Mention it's 100 degrees.
What's that?
It's 100 degrees out.
Yeah, it's also 100. Well, not 100.
It's like 98.
It's 100 in Canadian.
Well, it's 30 in Canadian and probably what math again.
It's hot.
Okay, put
We
that
don't need
down
a stove.
and come lift this.
Hey, finger purchase.
Use your fingers.
If we don't have that. I know you're moving.
Oh, I think I'm getting shorter. Okay, ready? Oh, that's my leg. Gotta go. You're going down. Go. You ready? Okay. Whoa, we're stuck.
Go higher.
Ready? Okay, that's good.
Whenever you're doing construction or crapstruction, as some people fondly remember criticizing our project about, we're not going to get into that, of course. Remove everything out of the way before you do the next stage. Always keep your worksite clean. It will make your life so much more pleasurable when you do it. Don't have to work around things. It's completely empty. There are no tools in here. The only tools that come in are the tools that we use. The only materials that we will have in here are the materials we're working with currently. Clean slate, always important.
Blank slate. Blank slate.
Clean slate. Blank slate.
Blank.
It's a big broom you got.
It's a union job.
Are you supervising?
Beats camera shy.
Are you supervising? Aw, it's that puppy. Just a camera. What do you mean? Good dog. Good doggy Bean.
I'm putting up vapor barrier.
What's the trick?
The trick is to start. I think we went over this one time on the ceiling.
But people who are watching now, they might have forgotten.
So, when putting up vapor barrier, the secret is to tack a line along your longest point and go from the middle, go all the way up, and then work your way out, and you get a nice tight seal like a drum.
So before we put all the electrical in, we put plastic in behind all the outlet boxes. I think that's a light. We have to remember how we did this. But this will make a tight seal, so we just cut the plastic over top and then we pull this all through, and that makes a nearly 100% seal, leaving the electrical wire through. That's the only space where there might be some air, but if you leave your boxes open, you just feel a breeze through it and it gets cold.
When you're doing vapor barrier, it's only good as your weakest link. So this is a switch. I don't know what it is. You cut a little square rectangle and you take your already existing vapor barrier that you already put in and you pull it through the hole. And you pull it out like this.
And then when you're all done, this gets tuck taped here to complete the seal.
That seals all the mold in the wall.
He's joking. There's only a little bit of mold.
Too much. Just like 2 inches past the wall. Yeah.
We need drywall, we need screws, we need tuck tape, vapor barrier we ran out of. So that's what we're doing now. You guys are wondering about the budget for the cabin. We don't have a budget for the cabin anymore. We'll have to tally it up later and we'll figure out exactly how much the cabin costs. So we won't do that till the very end when it's completed. How about that? So you have to watch the whole series.
We have to take out a second mortgage.
That cabin is being mortgaged as we speak on the progress we've already made.
Yeah, we had to get a building mortgage, but they wanted to see substantial completion. So we're there now. So we're just trying to tie up some loose ends because the appraiser's coming.
Yeah, right. You can keep coming back. You go to this tree here. Well, that's about as close as we can get. It's not too bad. It'd be nice to get all the way there. I have to cut a bunch of trees down though. We don't want to do that. I'm gonna still be in the woods. But we don't want to carry stuff too far either. We're lazy.
That way. Ready? Nope. Ready? Nope.
We're going that way.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do that 7 more times. Camera. I don't know, double 5/8 is about 4.5 pounds a square foot. This is, I don't know the math on this.
It's heavy. We gotta get the ceiling now. Oh. If you follow from the start, you probably wonder if any of the structure changed. Nothing has changed. Yeah, nothing shrunk, nothing grew, nothing expanded. Well, okay, wait. There's the door issue. The door doesn't close anymore. That's the only thing. Everything else works just fine. So all the worry about drying and letting it season and everything didn't materialize at all.
Listen to this. This is ASMR.
No,
I don't know what ASMR is.
That's not ASMR. That's just annoying. Listen to the beautiful sounds of construction.
That's me after that hamburger I ate.
Farting right into the mic.
The sound of $10 tape coming off the roll.
All that hard work of insulating is finally paying off. I'm sweating up here. Oh, it's 30 degrees Celsius outside. Friggin' roasting up here. It's the last time. Like, makes sense doing this in the winter. It makes no sense doing it now. But obviously, it's got to be an all-season cabin. And we can put a window shaker, air conditioner in here too, so we can actually make it an all-season cabin. We need one up here. It's hot. Well, it's hot everywhere, so it's hotter actually.
You know what? There's a nice breeze coming.
It's not bad. There's a window here. Like, the window's helping, but it's still really hot.
Can I get the sound of the mosquitoes trying to kill me or what?
Yep. Last wall for vapor barrier, the hardest one. Save that one for last. Always save the hardest one for last. No, don't do it first unless it makes sense to do it last. We're doing it last because it just makes sense to do it last. The window is going to be a pain in the butt, but I don't know. Kevin will figure it out. The drywall it, and then Get it cut and insulated and it'll work. It'll all work out in the end. All right, we're all done. It's all taped, it's all vapor barrier, it's ready to go. We have our drywall and we need to go pick up our ceiling, but we're gonna check to see if it's dry. And then if it is, we're gonna move it down and that'll be for another day. And then we can put up the whole ceiling and the walls without having to do too much extra work besides actually doing that stuff. It's probably gonna wrap it up for today, but we'll probably continue with this. It'll be next day for you guys. The old Suzuki won't fire up. Battery's completely dead. So we gotta get a new battery charged up.
Oh yeah.
This wood's been sitting for about 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks or so. It looks, feels the part, feels like it's bone dry, I don't know, hard to say. There's quite a few cracks and checks, which is pretty natural. I think we have more than enough. We may be short still because of, there's gonna be some waste. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut off the back section or the front section, whichever you prefer to think about life, until it's about straight. We're going to load it up, and then once we get it out there, we'll measure for length. So we're not going to do that here in case there's some crookedness into the ceiling, and then we can adjust for that and make some pieces a little bit longer as we go or shorter as we go. If we cut them all the same length and they end up not being the required size, you can't go back. So we'll measure once we get down there.
This is the ceiling for the cabin. I don't think there's any first gear either. Go. Oh, it won't go. Uh-oh.
This is like the perfect hat to be driving this kind of car.
Bang a ding 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 ding. It's a Tilly hat. What's wrong with my Tilly hat? They don't wear Tilly hats. They have a straw hat.
This cabin's been kind of a patchwork of activity. You're only doing this on free time and weekends or whatever, so we got this stored here. Obviously last time we were out here, we did all the rest. Insulation, vapor barrier. We're not even going to be doing the ceiling today, we just move it down. So again, this is a spare time project. But now we're ready for go, go, go. So we said we got our drywall, we got our ceiling, and that pretty much takes care of all the cladding for the most part. And then we'll think of doing like wainscoting at the bottom, as I mentioned before. Yeah, we're looking at this cherry tree down here next, and we'll see, try to drag that out and turn it into a table. Be nice, or some cabinets would be nice, but that'll be up to the consensus as to what we're going to do with that big cedar or big cherry. You guys saw us cut that thing down. It's massive. It when it fell the wrong way, so it's not as useful as it could have been. But and it's a big tree, so we got to figure out how to get that out and make use of it. We'll figure it out. We always figure it out, don't we? Always.
That's 10 right there.
You want them 10?
What are you going to do with it?
Of course. Well, I'm just going to go 10 right here because this is where the blowout is, right?
You guys got to vote on what we should do with this big cherry tree. I think like a big butcher block. Well, it's not even butcher block. It's going to be like a full slab table in the cabin. Maybe a cabinet countertop would be cool. I think that would work really well.
What do we roll?
The tractor's laughing at me right now.
Why don't you
Push it.
just push it right over?
Just push it right over.
Chainsaw's pinched in there now. I got some options. We can push it forward, or we can pull it out, or roll it over the tractor. Oh, hold on, wait.
Okay. Like that?
It's always too short. Nope. Oh, you get it.
There you go, now straight up. New day, new project. We got the ceiling all set to go. We are going to simply cut and install. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Hopefully to get this done by the end of today, because it's pretty straightforward. The only thing we have to cut around really is this chimney stack, and that's it. As long as we have enough wood, we should be good. It's always about having enough wood. And then if we get really far along, we'll put a little bit of drywall up too, because it's all ready to go. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get there. It's really dark in here though. I don't know. It's not too bad for filming. You guys can see. So basically we're running the length of it. We're gonna hit the studs, couple nails in each, bang it off all the way around. Simple, easy peasy.
We're in the tropical rainforest today.
Always helping by reading books.
You don't want to tuck it right in the crack. You just kind of want to. The drywall's going to go up, right?
Yeah.
Straight up. So to split the difference. Is that too easy?
Maybe. Check that out. One piece done already, just like that. It should be no time. No time at all. Going pretty fast. Like half an hour, get almost one side done.
You're gonna jinx it.
I'm gonna jinx it because it's not gonna line up at the top. Actually, it doesn't even matter if it lines up at the top because it's gonna be a ridge. Anyway, we can put that anywhere we want. Of course, you can't apply a discount to all the work we did before we did this to get the ceiling ready to go.
We use 10 on one side and we've got 11 good ones and 4 sketchy ones down here, so we should be over by 5 pieces, which is good. So we're gonna rip one of these long guys. We're gonna rip it in half, and we're gonna fill in this little spot, and then we're gonna take another one and cross it, go across here, and it gives us a space for lighting.
Where's our lighting?
It's in a box. The lighting goes in this box.
What are you talking
It's
about?
hot.
Only how many lights do we wire up there?
Well,
One?
there's one wire, but you run the wires in afterwards because they're like LEDs, little pancake ones that go in this box that's going to be built. So we're going to put the box up, cut holes in it, and then fish the wires across, because otherwise you got a dangly wire in your face.
All right. So get her up aboard.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a roof piece here. So in order to make it easier on ourselves, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the board so it's perfectly parallel and straight. So we can just tuck it in the ceiling. And then we have 3 little puck lights. So instead of like trying to cut them out in the ceiling and measure it all out, we're going to do it before we put it in the ceiling. So we throw it in, and then we can fish that wire out when we need it, when we do the electrical, and then we can wire our lights in just by pulling it through the little holes. So the puck lights, you're not going to see them right now, but you'll see them later. They're very, very little thin lights that fit in the ceiling, and they hardly any space at all, so we can push this right to the top. We have lots of ceiling space, so we're not worried about that at all. Makes our life a lot easier too. Once we get the lighting in here, it's going to look a lot different. Ceiling looks pretty good. It's starting to look nice and finished now. Now we got to move on to drywall. Obviously the most complicated place to drywall in the world is right here. So that's where we're going to start.
Drywalling with Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. Start off, get yourself a good little knife. Don't get the big one, get the little one. Olfa knife makes a good knife. Don't buy the Olfa blades, go to the dollar store. You can get a 10 pack for $1. Or you can buy the Olfa knives. They're like, you know, a 10 for 20. Start off a fresh tip. Cutting long drywall, you kind of want to, if you hold your thumb on your tape measure and your knife on the other side like this, and you find your mark, which I've already measured, so you find it, tick it off, and then you start, and then you just kind of drag it and try to keep it level. And the first time you do this, you're going to notice you burnt your thumb, or you burnt your index finger. Eventually it'll callus up and it won't hurt anymore. So you just score it, and then you hit the back and it breaks, just like that. And then most people will lean over and they'll cut the other side, but you don't have to. You can actually just score this side. And then with just a kind of your knee, it's really wet. It should just snap like that. See, perfect. A nice clean. This isn't the piece we need. We need this piece. So just like that, you got your board. So I should already know what this one is. It's 60. Get the paper again.
Raining. Ah.
When you're drywalling, usually you would use a proper drywall screw gun, but I don't have one of those unless you want to send me one. So what you do is just basically you want to just divot the paper just slightly. It comes with a lot of practice. I don't have the right bit even. They have a dimpler bit on this. This isn't a dimpler bit. So you want to make sure it's just below the paper, not breaking the paper, just below it. You'll discover whether or not you're proud with the screw when you're taping it, because that sound, when it's just a horrible sound. So you want to have it just below the paper, so when you mud it, you have enough mud that goes over top. Well, if you're ever drywalling and you don't know, this is the most expensive way to make a corner, actually. These are called 1x2 wall angles, and drywallers tend to use them a lot in drywalling because they're so versatile. Because if you don't have any nailing edges, which we don't, and the reason why we don't is so we can get insulation back there, so we didn't, or we forgot. Anyways, vapor barrier is out. We don't want to cut it. We don't want to put a block in there. So I tack a 1x2 wall angle into the corner, and that gives you basically a nailing edge here and here, and allows you to secure the drywall so your corners don't crack.
So we could just floor right up to the bottom, but we had a big discussion about, like, if we do that and we leave that gap there, there's always going to be a little spot between the floor upstairs and down here below where the mice will actually be able to get up on that floor, and all our bedding is going to be up above there. So what we're going to try to do is seal this completely with the drywall all the way, all edges, so that if mice do come in, they actually are relegated inside the roof and inside the walls. And then we'll be able to have like a completely sealed interior space here where we'll know where they're coming from at least. So we'll see the chew marks and all that. Because the worst part about having a cabin is mice. Ask anybody who has a cabin that's unattended for some time of the year, and they will tell you that mice will drive you absolutely bananas. They'll leave droppings and urine, and you can't leave food. You can't leave anything here. They'll chew you. If you have antlers here, because you have, a deer antler or an antler mount or anything, they'll chew through anything. They'll turn into a bedding. And then we're going to be able to mud between all the way through. It's going to be one solid piece containing the mice outside and the good stuff inside, which is us and not the droppings. Perfect.
And a full sheet of drywall, what I like to do, and it's not necessarily the right way, but it's what I do, is on a wall, you'll put one at the joint, and you always want to line these guys up, and then you put 2 in the middle. Now, some guys, you know what? I don't care what some guys do. Whatever you want to do. I put 1 here, I put 2 in the middle. Evenly spaced. You can mark them out. I have the window lined out there. So an easy way to hit the stud every time, because a lot of it gets frustrating, you just find your top mark. Usually you find your screw up top and your screw at the bottom, and you just run your level line. Run a pencil line, you'll be able to see it. Don't divot your paper with your pencil, because it'll show up when you go to tape it. But yeah, so you just find your screw, level your line, your studs should be level, and there. So when you go to screw it off, you don't even have to think. So you just kind of... There, sunk below the paper, just enough. So like guys, we use a drywall saw, and that's all fine and good, but I don't like breathing it. I have a zip tool that usually goes around the outlets and around the windows, but it's a very tight space. So you just kind of, and then done.
Hey, we just took the floor down. It looks so much different, doesn't it? Maybe it doesn't. It's kind of weird now, but it's all bolted up. So you take the floor down here. So that we can, like, the transition between the loft area here, we can drywall to there, but we can't drywall from the ceiling down to the space on the top here above. It's tricky to explain, but Kevin's going to put a little bit of that molding just at the top there, so that we can drywall straight all the way down without having to interfere with the floor at all, and then we can mud it and seal it like nice and tight. That's really the objective with doing it this way. I mean, we could fiddle around with the floor and jam it like against the floor, but the floor is not even done. It's not even screwed in, and we still need a couple more boards to do the width, so we couldn't really get them in very well after. And then the floor would go into the wall, and the wall would, it's just a big mess. This is just the best way to do it. So we'll put the floor in after, which is how you would do it anyway. But with doing all the work we had to do, it worked as a scaffolding, so it worked out that way. So we'll take it down, we'll put our wall in, mud it, and then we'll put the floor back in, and then we'll screw it all down, and it'll be finished. And we have a plan for the floor down here as well. Actually, we had a plan. We don't have a plan anymore, so maybe you guys have some ideas you want to present to us as far as what we should put down on the floor in here. Something durable, something waterproof, and I think we want to be able to walk in here without having to worry about taking your shoes off. I think the main floor is going to be shoe zone, and the upstairs will be shoe free zone.
I'm thinking luxury vinyl tile.
I'm sure everybody else wants us to do, like, rip something with the saw, but it's not going to be super durable. So I'm thinking stone, tile. We'll see. We'll have to figure that out. We're not there yet.
Piece.
We still got to put up the rest of the drywall, which we're going to do. Mud, maybe paint first.
You got to mud first.
Well, mud first, then paint, obviously.
Yeah, you're gonna paint before you put the floors in.
Are we putting it up a chail rail? Wainscoting?
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 We'll see. It's an evolving project. You gotta drywall it and then paint it and see.
I know. Straight away, people are gonna be. Well, I mean, it's kind of a split thing, right? Drywall is like weird in the cabin, but if we put it all wood, and then as you can see now, you can see the transition there is nice. But if it's like wood to wood, it just starts to look really woody, and then your eye kind of gets lost, and like you're not seeing the lines anymore. But this will, even if there's like the Wayne's coating at the bottom, and then drywall, and then ceiling, and then so it's wood, drywall, wood,
mixed media.
Yeah.
Let's do like a faux finish. Let's do some ragging in here. Let's get some old plastic bags and some paint. We'll texture it. We'll do some patterns and some borders. Some wallpaper borders.
That looks weird, cheesy.
Oh yeah.
Straight paint, drywall is fine.
Let's do mud head prints.
And there's gonna be wood trim around all the windows and everything else. So
we find the windows before we put the sheet up. We measure from the edge of this board. So if we measure from the outside perimeter of the window, we can mark them out here and then use a level line to figure it out. You could do this beforehand, but easier to do it this way. Anybody that's hung board in a crooked room knows that.
It's not crooked.
Well, that's my point. Everything we've cut, like look at, it's a straight cut and it's darn near perfect. So I don't know.
You don't know what people were talking about earlier?
Yeah, it's been like, 9 months, twisted, drying out, whatnot, and everything is, well, that's within an eighth on drywall, so.
We're obviously trying to drywall this so we use the least amount of drywall possible with the least amount of seams so that we have to tape the least amount necessary. That makes sense? Should always drywall like that because then you do less taping and it looks less like garbage with all the humps and all that stuff. You can always do it horizontally, but you can do it vertically too, but horizontally tends to look better on a longer wall because then it doesn't look all bowy.
Oh, Jim.
What am I saying? Wrong?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
I'm saying it right.
On residential, they go horizontal to increase the structural integrity of a house because they're all built out of styrofoam. So they go horizontal on the walls. In a commercial space, you go up and down traditionally because you're using steel stud and you don't have the bows.
Well,
so you want a bridge. You want to go perpendicular to your studs most of the time.
I have painted, and I know the walls, when you look at them down the really long commercial space, they're wavy.
But they don't care in commercial spaces. You're not sitting on your couch staring at the wall in a commercial space. You're going there to go to your doctor's office and you're worried about, your cholesterol and stuff.
These people cared because they wanted us to paint it 10,000 times because we could see the lines. I'm like, well, you can't use glossy paint, durable, and hide the seams the way the light's coming in down the wall. Anyway, that was a whole big different project. Here, it's not going to matter if we go either way, because you're not going to be able to look down the wall. Okay, so it looks an awful lot. Well, actually, if you look at the pine stuff, it doesn't look totally like we're inside a regular house. It's spruce. Kevin has to correct me. Is it? It's pine. Oh no, it's
Spruce.
That's spruce. Never mind. So if you look at the spruce, it doesn't look like we're in like. Actually, if you look at the ceiling too. So there's like only hints of wood left, but we don't obviously look like we're in the house. But once we get everything else in here, like you gotta remember, if you're looking over here, there's gonna be a big table made out of wood with a wood bench on either side. And then there's gonna be some more wood over here with a countertop for a sink and all that stuff. So once you get inside, there's some drywall, but we can have lots of wood accents. There's going to be wood around the windows. What? There's not going to be wood?
The wood around the windows?
Wood around the windows. So there's going to be wood all the way around the windows. There's trim. There's going to be trim on the baseboard wood. There'll be wood on the floor, or maybe not. We're going to find something else for the floor. You guys have ideas yet? Wood ceiling. Y wall.
Y wall?
Yeah. Wood. There's too much wood. It would look really bad.
Would it?
It would. Too much wood is not a good thing. So we're going to avoid doing that. That's why we did the drywall. It's going to provide that separation that we want.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck wood?
We're getting there. We're almost there. A couple more walls. We got this wall, which is the janky wall because it's got the pitched roof and all the doors and windows. So we're like 60% done.
So what are we into it for about 45 minutes of boarding here or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll probably seem like more time when you're watching the video, but about 45 minutes of boarding. We got to this stage. It's hot though.
It'll seem like less than 45 minutes probably because it's just going to be little snippets. You guys are going to see it done quick because it's not that exciting after you put a couple boards up, right? Is it? I don't think so. It's just more of the same thing.
Should we test fit this?
No, it'll fit. Just jam it in. Last little chunk. Oh, it fits. That's it. Drywall.
So this is a Trimtex product, and it's designed originally to drywall to the underside of T-bar ceilings. So it's got a little flange to cover your edge, and then it's got this little tearaway edge. So when you mud it, it doesn't actually get it on the T-bar ceiling, or in this case, our ash ceiling. So we spray both sides. This one's already been sprayed. You spray that side like that. It goes on nice and pink. You give it a couple seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to tuck it up against the ceiling. And the manufacturer's recommendations is to use divergent staples. I'm using a tack stapler. basically as an extra precaution. And what you can do is you get to basically wherever your drywall didn't quite meet, you just kind of tuck it behind. And it gives you a very clean look right up against the ceiling. In my other life, I do really fancy ceilings. So this ceiling's pretty tame compared to a lot of the stuff I do. So the next step, what happens is you mud this like a corner bead. So it's like a half corner bead. And then this little plastic piece here that's up against the ceiling, you pull it off. So it's like, once it's done, you can pull it off and you have a nice clean line all the way along. And then our battens, we cover the ceiling, will go right to the drywall and it'll look perfect. So the circle window is buried behind this drywall. We have to cut it out. So what we've done off camera is we found the center point, which is this little screw here. So this is the center point of the window. The window is roughly 25 inches wide. The easiest way to make a circle is to get some pocket string, see? And then you hook it onto your center line. And then you grab your pencil and then you divide 25 in half. Twist your string around, make sure it's not stretchy string because that would suck. You'd have an oblong. You ready? You ready? This is fancy drywall. This is 1/4 inch flex board and it's designed to bend. But so what they do is they put little pieces of fiber in there to help it hold, and the paper is extra thick. So the paper on the back is extra thick, the paper on the front is extra thick. And what we're gonna do with it in a minute to help it bend. So you can already kind of see it's like a noodle, right? So whenever you use this stuff, you tend to double it up. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna lay it out. We're gonna take this and we're gonna wet it. It's important when you're bending drywall to only wet the back side. If you get any on the front side and you've got a really tight bend, the paper just seems to disintegrate if you get water on the front side. So we had this sitting outside and the camera doesn't show it, but the humidity is what, 100%, 95%. It's like equivalent of 105 Fahrenheit outside. So you can see how already we're kind of noodly. So we're gonna put this in, we're gonna install this piece. So these things are going to allow to finish the drywall edge up to these beams, but it also allows movement because it doesn't actually stick the wood to the drywall. So you just kind of glue that in, and then you just mud it. Bada bing, bada boom. Other than there's a piece of plastic up there. So what I usually do is I start with all the flats and then work my way to the corner. So because this building is quite tall, there's a little piece at the bottom, so I just go like this, mud the joint like that, all the way across. Kind of pre-smooth it. And then you're ready for the tape. There. Take it and you put it in the mud, making sure it's sort of even. And you squish it out. Rinse and repeat. This is a factory joint, so the idea is you want to mud the factory joint, pushing it into the crack. There's a natural fold in the tape, so it naturally wants to fold like that. And what you want to do is make sure when you put it in, is you're putting that natural fold to where the crack is. Otherwise, what happens is it dries and it folds out, and you can never get rid of that line. And then once you go, you can just kind of hit your nails, clean it right off. By nails, I mean screws. Like that, and it looks like it's perfect.
Well, as you guys can tell, we're running out of light, daylight, but we're eager to get this part done. You can see there's lots of light outside, but inside, nothing. Dark, 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 dark. So I just fired up our generator. We got a Briggs & Stratton. They're a sponsor on an earlier video. We got it out here in the little doghouse. This thing's amazing. I was really surprised, but it's been sitting all winter. You know, the gas is still in it. We shouldn't have left the gas in it, but we did. We had the idea, like, next time we fire it up, just to let the gas burn out so we can get some new gas in there. Fires up first time. We're gonna get a light rigged up, and then we can also get the fan going. It's really, really hot today. I don't know. You guys can't tell how hot it is, obviously. You can tell how cold it normally is here, but it's hot. So we're gonna get a fan going so that we can blow out some of the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are so bad in here. So we'll get a fan going and hopefully blow some air around so the mosquitoes can't land on us as easily. And it'll help dry out the mud a little bit as well. We gotta do 3 coats on this. So we're gonna push the tape in first, let it dry. And then I think Kevin will take over from there. So he'll do 2 more coats after this. And then we can sand and paint. And flooring's next. And then we're looking at fixtures. We're looking at countertops. We're looking at tabletops. We can do the trim, all that good stuff. So we're getting there. Kevin's dangly leg. So Kevin's gonna keep mudding. Next time we're gonna be sanding, painting, and probably doing the floor. So we gotta figure something out for that. You guys leave your preferences down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys watch the whole video, write full stop. Go back, watch the whole series. If you're not busy and your computer's not busy, your laptop's not busy, your personal device is not busy, play the whole series. There's a playlist. Play the whole playlist out for me, because that helps YouTube recognize that this is a good series. If you haven't hit that little bell, hit the bell for notifications. That means they'll probably let you know, and make sure you've enabled notifications, because if you don't enable notifications, even if you hit the bell icon, they're not going to let you know. So leave a comment, thumbs up, and whatever else. I don't care. Share it if you want to. But play the series. Watch time matters. You watch the full video from start to finish. It really helps the video. Appreciate your support. See you guys in the next one.